Welcome to the IcyData podcast. I'm joined by Mike and Will, and today we'll be discussing the NHL post-Olympics as well as how the Olympics ended and everything coming out after that.
All right. So a week ago from today when we're recording this, we had the U.S. men's team take victory for gold for the first time since 1980 over the Canadian Olympic team. Will, what
Yeah,
do you think?
I think largely it was a good game. Both teams, I would think, had beef with the officiating, and honestly, I don't think it contributed to the result of the game. Um, so I mean, the 3-on-3 OT sucks, but that's the rules and Canada lost. So what can you do?
Yeah, just reflect and look back on next time. I mean, it's obviously hindsight's 2020, but at the moment with watching the team, it still seemed like there was like mistakes being made. I mean, with who was getting ice time, how much they were playing, like one of the big pillars in my mind was the reliance of Team Canada on their top players. Like there was not much. It's some of the other players got so little ice time. The thing I alluded to before the show for like ice time was in the gold medal game. Keller of the I believe I remember that name right. Keller of
Tim
Utah,
Keller,
formerly of
USA,
uh,
Arizona. Yeah,
yeah, he got only 30 seconds worth of ice time in the gold medal game, one shift.
I think the other issue was how Cooper really did not do a good job managing ice time or taking care of the lineup after the Crosby injury. Celebrini's not a bumper guy you put on the power play. He is on the half wall or at point. You want him outside making creative plays. You don't want him being the guy that has to hit the puck and then immediately shoot it or immediately find another pass. I really put the loss on Cooper and Nathan McKinnon's inability to bury an open net.
I mean, yeah, you've got the issue with McKinnon not being able to hit the empty net, but I don't think that's necessarily a deployment issue. Um, you put your top line in a position to succeed, and they didn't, right?
Yeah, they
Um,
they they overworked the
and
top guys, and the top guys got tired, and you have people there barely playing any time when they were also having depth scoring issues, which forced their hand a bit more to play the top guys.
I
yeah,
agree
like I
with you,
mean,
Mike.
you've got to give credit to just the way the roster was constructed, and I can't believe I'm saying that given that that roster had JT Miller on it. But if the roster is constructed in such a way that John Cooper feels like the best line to put out there can't score on an empty net, then I mean, I got to give credit to just the way the roster was constructed. It was made to handle Canada.
Yeah, I was
I will
thinking, I was thinking
I will
there on that
also
about
point out
JT.
well,
Sorry.
I will also point out that my issue was with overtime. What they did was they put McKinnon, McCarr, and McDavid. They put them first shift. Then the second shift,
Well,
you had Tays, Celebrini, and I remember who the third guy was. I
I
think it was
think
Marner.
the
Yeah,
fir- the
it was
first shift
Marner.
the first shift, if I remember it, technically didn't have one of those three guys. I can't remember who out there to start. Actually, out there to start overtime. Bo Horvat was there on the ice to win the faceoff. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
great,
but then
congratulations. You're an upfront presence guy. You're a big guy who can skate, who can check, who can make defensive plays and not mess up. But no, we just want you for the faceoff and they get off the ice and you'll never see it again.
yeah, I agree with you. And then on the third shift, so they put Celebrini, Marner, and Tays. Tays got Tays has not been having a good tournament. He just did not have a good tournament. He got dog walked by Boldy. And then Celebrini in that gold medal game was just not
Mm-hmm.
Celebrini. The one of my reporter buddies said it looked like the moment got too big for him. And then
I don't think so. I think the lines that Cooper chose for the overtime were just wrong. You cannot
Yeah.
have McDavid as typical McDavid given the other options with the players they had. Like what they should have done is they should have had a defensively minded player. Now, like, don't get me wrong, every player on that roster can play offense, can play defense, but you're specifically giving them the role to be more defensively minded. Like you put out Marner with McDavid and maybe Makar, okay? And you tell Marner, even though Makar is the defenseman, you tell Marner, hey, you're going to hide in the high slot because I don't want you all the way deep, right? Or you do Marner, McKinnon, and Makar. And then you tell McDavid to go with Celebrini. And you tell Celebrini, yeah, go into the corner. And you tell McDavid to be high slot. And then you have Devin Tays. I just think the order of the way those players were deployed was wrong. Mark Stone should have seen time in overtime. You put him out there as the responsible adult, and you put him with McKinnon. You double shift McKinnon or double shift McDavid in an offensive role and put Mark Stone with him. There was ways to deploy that team, and
There's also only so much you can do with double shifting these guys in overtime for 3-on-3, which takes extra energy for what is apparently was bad, horrible ice, which is draining extra energy when you've been
That
double
is
shifting all these people the entire game.
nah,
that
it's a gold
is
medal. They could do it.
But it's
that
not
is
just
what
that
hold
game.
on.
It's
That's
each
what
game
ultimately
before
cost
that.
them. Hold on. That's what ultimately cost them because after the Marner Celebrity Tays line went out, third shift, McKinnon, McDavid, Makar, the same three guys you had on the opening part of overtime once Horvat got off the ice. And you saw that McKinnon was the first guy back to try and prevent the scoring opportunity, but McDavid and Makar, McDavid, the fastest guy in the league, just could not get back to cover Hughes, who had a wide open shot in the slot.
It's they just overworked, and this is where that part comes down to the coaches. Like if you're overworking these people, if you're not able to divide the load enough, you will just burn people out. So it doesn't matter what your age is. Yeah, the older guys are going to burn out faster than the younger guys, which was the other side, the other side of the triangle that I described earlier before the show. Like if you have all these old guys that can't play every single day without being getting burnt out, that they're 2 games in, you're like, oh, we need to rest them. They're too tired. I mean, McDavid, I think he was scratched, if I remember right, his first NHL game post Olympics. Like,
Most, hold on,
they
I just
shouldn't have
want a
used him that much.
clarification. Every NHL player that played in the gold medal game was given the opportunity to rest their first game. Gensel took it. I know Tom Wilson, Logan Thompson took it for the Caps. David took it. A lot of players took that one day off, especially the Americans.
Matthews didn't.
We played Wednesday.
He played Wednesday. Yep. And had to answer to the media for both of Toronto's 2 terrible games.
We didn't. The Islanders didn't play Wednesday, but Horvat was there on Thursday.
Okay.
And same thing for, though granted, a different team, so I'm not. It doesn't really matter. But Palat was there also, but Czech didn't get so far.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Faravari played in the bronze medal game, and he was on the Caps ice first game back.
the bronze medal game was the day before.
Yes, the evening before.
Yeah, it wasn't like the one where the women's where you had both games happening on the same day.
And speaking of women's, that was an interesting final.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. I learned of a set that I posted the image earlier in our chat. Uh, did you guys hear that Hillary Knight some point during the tournament, at least the image didn't say when, tore her MCL and played on it
I
during the gold medal
I
game?
I did see that. That's insane.
Yeah, it's yeah, some injuries and some just whole ligaments can be played on, even if completely torn. But like that's a knee. The knee's not that padded. And if that there's never been a rule about hitting in Olympic U.S. versus Canada games, just being mostly allowed. And if you have the big supporting ligament on one side of your knee, get blown out, whether which side of that knee gets hit, I can't remember the name of it, but the like P uh PLC, whatever it is that's in the center of the knee, that has a chance for
Yeah,
that to
ACL.
get injured. It's like insane. It's such a big. There's a reason why she went immediately on LTR when immediately after the tournament happened.
I'm
Tournament
curious
ended.
what the Torrent's opinion would be on that.
The Torrent are currently last in the standings, so they don't have much playoff hope. I know that feeling as a
That's
Sirens
fair.
fan very well. They're probably more concerned with because this is not going to be her last season. Period. Might be a last Olympics. It's not going to be last season. Period. So they're hoping maybe for the next season, the season afterwards. But if like a worse injury happens, that's what they're concerned about is like losing her for next season. It'd be a career-ending injury.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
next
kind of did
game.
get the feeling though, like her signing in Seattle, like it felt at least felt like to me like it was the last season. So it's good to hear that she's planning on to continue playing.
Yeah, I can't speak for I have no idea for the actual PWHL, but I know it was essentially confirmed. She confirmed that this would be her last Olympics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So doesn't mean last. I bet she would love one more chance to win the Walter Cup. I mean, the majority of the league would love to see anyone, but Minnesota wanted to win the cup. But yeah, it's. I don't think this would be her last season, regardless. So I imagine she'll be back. She'll be in great physical condition as always for next season, and one season can make a lot of change for a team. I mean, look, Boston went from making the playoffs, missing the playoffs, to now being the dominant team in the playoffs. Now we're
Right.
not talking about we've gone into talking about PWHL and Boston's still been doing great, but we've still got a little bit more things to go on with the Olympics.
The other item I noticed in the women's game is that Canada's roster, compared to the men's side, Canada's roster actually looked slower. Some of the players genuinely looked slower on the ice.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I mean Canada like out um like had to like that was the best game that they played in all year, like through all the series games that they had with US leading up
Yeah, the
to
rivalry
the Olympics.
series and the,
They
the, the
they
championship
absolutely
game.
they absolutely overplayed
Yeah.
like their capabilities. I'm pretty sure they played the the trap game that entire time, and that was the only reason that that game was close.
Yeah, they were all bought into their system 100%. Everyone was
Yep.
playing their part. There is not a single person's fault on that women's team for why I would not fault a single player at all for it. And yeah, there's just unfortunate because the development programs are just not up to NHL standards yet. You have players that are a bit slow. I'll give an example for someone who used to be for the Sirens, Abby Rogue. Yeah, she was always one of the slowest skaters in the league. But guess what? She had some of the best hands, some of the best shots in the league. There's a reason why she scored the first lacrosse goal in league history. That was a
Yeah.
fantastic goal to see.
Yeah.
And I believe Abby Rogue made Team Canada. I'm fairly sure about that. I'm just double checking on my phone right now. But you can keep going while I check this.
But going from the women's gold medal game to the men's gold medal game, um, there's been some debate about roster construction. I think the other issue would have been the injuries that popped up for Team Canada, especially Sidney Crosby not being out there. I think
Yeah,
that really, really hurt Canada.
yeah. Injuries happen though. Like you saw the same thing happen last year with Four Nations. I mean, McAvoy got hurt. Matthew Tkachuk got hurt in like the first half of the first period or something like that, and then they just had to sit there on the bench and watch his team slowly losing the game, especially when it went to overtime.
Yeah, with the Josh Morrissey injury, and to your point from the last pod, Schaefer would have been real nice to have.
Yeah, there's a few people now. Granted, like I was looking after the Islanders Habs game, and then again there was still a bit of this after the Islanders Panthers game, where there was constant like multiple different fans from multiple different teams. I think I saw a few from every single Canadian team based off their Reddit flare, but especially Habs fan were like, the entirety for the defense for Team Canada would have been entirely different. It would have been so much better if you had a pairing of Dobson Schaefer.
Yeah, I'd see that.
It's
I
you have a defense. Schaefer is more defensively liable than Dobson, but they're both able to produce the puck. They're both able to carry the puck. The only time I would be a little bit cautious with Dobson would be overtime.
so I've seen Dobson play for Team Canada,
Yeah,
and in 2019 I was at the World Juniors game when his stick broke in overtime and Finland came back down, scored the game-winning goal on Mike DiPietro, and also last year they had him play in the World Championships, and Canada finished fifth, which was very surprising. They lost to Denmark in
there,
the quarterfinals.
especially for the World Championship games. There's a lot of like the attitude that I feel from Canada is like a lot of the players is like, I could go, but I think I'd rather sit on the beach. Like they don't care about that because the playoffs are still going on, even if they're just a team that didn't make the playoffs to begin with. Like they should be going, in my opinion. There was a whole big thing about was it 2 years or 3 years ago? They're like, Crosby's available, but he's really thinking about not going because he doesn't want to be bothered.
I mean, he went in 2025
Sure,
last
but I'm
summer.
just saying. But there was. I'm talking about an incident from a few years ago. Maybe stuff like Four Nations has like sparked its interest for this for international play again. Just period. Which is and this could be thought of like as a taste after Four Nations for what could be happening with the Olympics.
I think you just never really know how players are feeling after their season is done. Um, like I could absolutely see somebody just not being in the mental state to go play for their country.
Yeah, I get that. It's I mean shoot we'll look at the rankings that we do. We'll get into later. I was very looking forward to an Olympic break for the fact I didn't have to worry about all the things to do with the rankings for a few weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But going through the Olympic break, let's look at all the injuries that happened. You had Kevin Fiala, Victor
That's the
Hedman.
big one. He didn't make it
Yeah.
back. He didn't make it back home until after the gold medal game, from what I understand. It was like the
Yeah.
day later.
He had to get a special flight out because he had surgery.
Hmm.
Morrissey and Crosby, Rantanen, uh, Martin Pospisil, big loss for Slovakia. Yeah. I mean, Pospisil, Calgary, they're not going anywhere. But you look at Rantanen, Fiala,
Hedman.
Hedman, Crosby, those are top pairing, top line guys.
Yeah, and like Josh Morrissey is super important in Winnipeg, though Winnipeg is obviously struggling. But if Winnipeg had any hope in, you know, improving, they need him for sure.
Yeah, and that's just going to take this the wrong way. Like, we don't want this, what we got for the past few Olympics to happen again, where it's like NHL players don't go. No, that's the opposite. That's the worst possible thing that could happen to hockey would be after Four Nations, after this past Olympics, to have NHL players not go again. It will just, they'll need to support again.
Yeah.
And we'll all be sad.
I think the NHL has gotten some concessions from the IHF in terms of insurance.
Oh
That
yeah, that was. I mean, that was
Yeah.
the big sticking point. They weren't going to go unless they had that sort of thing.
Yeah, because owners were very upset after 2010 and 2014. I think 2014 was when the owner of the Wild basically told Mikko Koivu to pick his team over his country, and he didn't go to the 2014 Winter Olympics.
Yeah,
Uh,
Islanders fans are still a little traumatized from Tavares' injury years ago.
Oh yeah, where it was like broke his leg, right?
I can't remember. It's
2010,
so damn long ago. But yeah,
2010,
no,
I think.
it was a significant injury. If I remember right, there was some hopes about making the playoffs that year for like a push with like maybe just the right few trades with some players that were developing well. Obviously, Tavares, being young star that was there, just drafted the year before, but no, it's I mean, like that
I was
was
wrong. I was wrong, Mike. I got to correct myself. It was 2014.
sure. it still is like there was a lot of things going for that. Like, this is for 13-14 but we saw then come back for the 14-15 Islanders where hey, they played the 14-15. They played the Capitals. Capitals, if I remember, and that was a fun series. Even though it didn't go my way, it went your way.
They really should just move hockey to the Summer Olympics.
Technically, the first ever Olympics where hockey got played in was like in 1924 or something. 1924 or something like that was in the Summer Olympics, but they had rules like the rover was a thing, and it was like a round robin style tournament, kind of like what World Juniors used to be.
Right.
I watched a video about it made by someone earlier. If I remember it, I'll leave it in a comment or something below the video on YouTube. But it was fascinating learning about that.
So 1924, just to correct you, Olympics will be held by the same country. So, and in the same
Yes.
year, from 1924, they had Winter Olympics in France, and then they had the Summer Olympics in Paris.
Okay.
So it wasn't summer, it was winter. But at that time, the NHL didn't start playing, I think, until after Christmas. So uh, let's get a little off topic.
Sure.
So
Sure.
let's go into the rankings.
Sure, we can do that. All right, so I have an image up on screen now. Obviously, you two can't see it, unfortunately, but if you just go over to reddit.com/r/Reddit, you can find our weekly rankings post. The TLDRs, we run a group that does weekly rankings where we have one ranker for each team. They submit the rank. They submit each of their individual rankings, and we take the average of that through a site that Will has made, puts out the output, and then that's the rankings. We then take that output and then generate this image based off of that. To do someone by the name of Tim who made a tool for us to make this image. It's not perfect. Obviously, the up and down arrows for like some of the emojis are still not working right, but overall, it does a really great job representing the movement for each team and how each team is doing. All right, so what do we think about this week?
The Leafs are too high.
I'd say the rags are too high, but rags are too high as well. But that's a bit of a different thing.
I'm kind of surprised to see Carolina on top. I I
But
I feel like
before we talk about the
Buffalo
things on the
is. Yeah,
before we
go ahead.
talk about things on the image, there was an issue with the records for each team. There was a
Yeah,
record for the records on each team, so yeah, obviously, I think the Hurricanes have played more than one game. It shows they've only won one game in the past week. That ignore that.
yep, yep.
Some issues like that occasionally happens.
Yeah. Hopefully
I,
the new stuff works much better. But I'm still surprised to see
Yes.
Carolina at number one. I would have like with how Buffalo's been rolling, with how Tampa has been doing. I am surprised to see
Yeah.
Carolina higher than either of those two teams.
Yeah.
I think the surprising thing is that there's a lot of Eastern Conference bias. You've got obviously
I
Colorado,
mean, you
Dallas, and
hate
Minnesota
you.
as
I,
the
th- I
top.
think that might just be your hate for anyone in the East other than your team.
You got how many? One, two, three teams in West
Top 10.
from the West in the top five. So I don't think so.
Well, then 6 through 10 is East, and then when you get to 11 to 15, there's
I mean, just for the sake of our sake of argument, I'm not saying one's wrong or the other, but when I was putting together the post, I was listening to the hockey guys rankings. It's just something to keep listen to the background, and he had something like six Eastern teams in his top eight, in his top eight there. So
Yeah, the West is top heavy, and then the bottom is
yeah,
not great because you got teams like Vancouver and the Kraken on the West Coast. They're just not doing great.
yeah. Feel sorry for your second team.
Yeah, right. And I mean, Nashville has finally gotten out of whatever doldrum they were
Yeah,
in last year, but they're still not a fantastic hockey team. So
yeah.
I
They
mean,
were
it kind of
definitely
makes sense.
down there. They were definitely down there
Yeah,
a bit
possession
this season.
metrics. possession metrics for Nashville State say they're a better team than the position they're currently in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to the idea of like I've seen the Islanders do this for years. Like whatever team we're playing, we're going to play to their level. So we have about a 50-50 shot of winning and beating any team there is because we'll just play to whatever level it is. They'd be last team in the league, they'd be the best team in the league. I feel like that's like the Islanders I grew up with. And it's you see so many other teams like fall into that same type of groove, like whatever level of hockey we're playing at, whether it be like middle school kids, they'll play at that level. Like they're playing versus the Olympic team, an Olympic team, with maybe a few clones out there like Horvat versus Horvat for the example with the Islanders versus Canada, they'll play to that level.
It does seem to be a pattern for whatever reason.
So also looking at the rankings, Tampa Bay currently at number 3.
Yeah,
We don't know how long Victor Hedman's out for.
that is a bit
I
concerning.
mean, I mean, I don't think that's too much of a concern because you don't need him to make the playoffs. Shut him down until round one, and you're good to go. Like
uh,
over you've got 6 weeks for him to get to 100%. I think you're fine.
so you're saying they're going to subvert the cap again because he's going to go on LTIR and make it back for game 2 of the playoffs?
Well, you can't subvert the cap anymore. You got to put in
Use the rules.
paperwork for that sort of thing.
I'm making a joke about it. Also, especially the fact like I think one of those 2 years, the Islanders 2 Eastern Conference runs, like Hedman, I think it was Hedman that was injured on a big contract.
No, Kucherov. Kucherov missed the entire season.
Yeah,
There we go.
Kucherov.
There we go. Oh no, I'm traumatized by Hedman as well from those same 2 playoff runs.
I mean, I'm right there with you, but I mean, I don't think they're too concerned. Even if, like, I think they would prefer, obviously, if he were healthy in 5 weeks and then he could play 1 or 2 meaningless games to get back up to game speed. But
Mhm.
I think they're fine. The fact that he was at the Olympics, he now gets some extra rest. I think Tampa's actually quite happy that he's a little
Might be.
banged up.
And it's yeah, it's and plus if he does hit LTR, which I don't know if he technically has or hasn't yet, they'll at least get some form of cap relief, even if it's only a temporary thing for a depth player for the final run.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, they've got Darren Radish on like an absolute stellar year. Any chance to just give him more ice time, and like, I think they're happy.
Yeah. Speaking of other teams, though, that they are playing well and looking pretty well, and who is also far exceeding what expectations were at the start of the season, Montreal. We have them here at 7th, and they've just
I
been
mean, they
clicking for
were
the most part.
they were already on the upturn.
Yeah.
At like through the end of last season. So I'm not. I mean, I am a little surprised to see them at 32 wins already, but I'm also like they were due to start pushing. My big, I guess, surprise for the year is Buffalo because they started
Oh yeah,
bad
of course,
and then just
Buffalo.
they continued on the same trajectory that they were on, and then just decided, hey, maybe we should try winning. Um, and looked at each other as like, hey, yeah, we've never tried that before. I wonder what that would be like.
Firing their GM also does help. I mean, it's teams leaning on the East for the Atlantic versus what teams people expected to be leaning on the Yankees. It's just like partially tossed on their head. I mean, there was people going back to Montreal just for a second. There's people saying that it's like, yeah, the Capitals, not to dump on your team, D, but the people are saying like, yeah, the Capitals are going to get better. They're going to be higher up. They're going to be second in the Metro or whatnot. And Montreal is going to risk dropping out of the playoffs and missing this year. There was stuff like that going around.
Well, I think
Yeah,
the thing is, last year they rode Montembeault.
Hmm.
Montembeault is he's a good goalie, but he's not a workhorse.
He's also not a starter either. Just to begin
I mean,
with.
last year he played 62 games.
Sure, but you
that's a
you
lot of
can
games.
you can yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing for a modern day goalie to be able to do that, but it's also not.
Recommended.
You can't do that for too long, and that's just not what modern goalies tend to wind up doing. Even if you do have use goalies on a entirely different caliber, just for the example, like you don't see that with Ilya, you don't see that with Igor, and you don't see that with Why am I drawing a blank? He's also gave me trauma from those playoff runs down in Tampa. Vasilevsky.
Vasilevsky. Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let me finish my thought with
sure.
Montembeau.
Sorry.
So I watched the series. Montembeau got lit up the first two games against the Caps. And
Yeah.
they changed to Dobesh. And Dobesh,
Incredible season situation he came into with that too.
yeah. And now Dobesh is the number one goalie. Last year was his rookie year. Now he's given him the reins. He's taking control, and he's having a really good year.
Don't they also have Jacob Foster waiting in the wings as well?
Yeah.
Is that his name, Jacob Foster?
I don't know the name. I looked into the other guy. You just said his name and I forgot his name, but the guy from last season who replaced Montembeau, and who's been the primary one for this season. I looked into his story.
Jacob Fowler. Jacob Fowler.
But I looked into the other guy's story a bit, like middle school, becoming high school kid over in Europe, unable to get a spot in any type of significant goalie development program with any sort of significant team. So his parents move him to St. Louis to play like a B league or a C league there. There, I think he also was playing some high school at the time, and to work his way up. I think he spent time in the ECHL, then the AHL, and then be able to go in that first season of playing the Stanley Cup playoffs and do as well as he did. That's insane. I mean, he can really become an amazing goalie if his development is able to keep up. Now, I haven't looked at his stats really so much at all this season, but it's what I did get to see during the playoffs last season of him playing. And was looking at the stats, he has potential.
Another goalie like that reminds me of is Logan Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Started off in the Brandon Wheat Kings. Then he went to U Sports and then ECHL in the Capital System, South Carolina Stingrays, and then the Vegas Golden Knights saw him and they're like, "Oh, we're going to bring this guy in," and then he ended up going to Henderson and eventually, all the way up Stanley Cup team, the Golden Knights, and now he's back in the Washington system.
Came full circle.
I mean, if it's more than that, maybe really full circle, maybe just like a line there and back.
Yeah. But he is probably the reason the Capitals are not in the gutter, despite all the injuries they've had this season. And
Yeah.
How many more years is Ovi playing for, D?
I think he is sticking around for one more year.
One more. Okay.
One more year.
This season and next?
Yeah, because he wants to break Gretzky's record of regular season and playoff goals, which I believe is 1,018.
Okay.
He's right now at 998, and I don't think he's getting 20 goals the rest of the season. But
yeah, and the way the trend's going is you're more worried about fighting off Columbus than you are about even breaking into the playoffs right now.
Well, the thing with the Caps is that Logan Thompson's been phenomenal.
Agreed.
Charlie Lindgren has not had a great year. And there's a backup goalie that the Capitals have, Clay Stevenson, who came in for 3 games this year when LT and Chucky, as we call him, were injured. And he has played phenomenal. So I think if they ride Logan Thompson, they'll do well. They had Lindgren play Saturday night against the Habs, and he just got lit up. Like some of those goals, you just can't give up when you're in a playoff race.
Yeah. Going back over to goalies, we mentioned Buffalo, but we didn't mention what's his name, how he's doing in Buffalo. I'm so horrible with names. If I'm like not like staring at them or one way or another, or if this is not like one of my team's players, it's like I'm horrible with remembering names.
Isn't it Alex Lyon who's doing well over there?
There you go. Like I think they said for the past 10 games, or maybe it was like since January, He's been the best goalie in the league. A little bit ahead of
Yeah,
Sorokin, but the best goalie in the league.
the I mean, they've got so with 28 games played, Alex Lyon's got a 91%. UPL, few less games played, 23, with also a 91%. You got two goalies at 91%. Like you're going to win a lot of hockey games. Um,
Yeah, it's the bit of I've seen his play. He's just been steady on target, solid positioning, able to read the play well. Is it's Things have been going the way now. Let's help by a hot team in front of them. Obviously, if defense is trash in front of you, there's only so much. There's only so much you can do. I mean, that's how the Rags Rangers never won a Stanley Cup with Lundqvist. Like Lundqvist can do whatever he wants to a net. Won't change the fact about the team in front of him is trash and they never won a cup with them.
right.
Well, it helps with Buffalo, and you've got a couple high draft picks in Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power,
I mean, Owen Parrott hasn't really
Owen Byram.
proven himself to be a who would be in the same league as a bunch of other of the first overall picks. I mean, I think even the Rangers would rather keep Lafreniere than to have Owen Powers.
Uh, the thing is, there's a lot of defensive
Yes.
talent in Buffalo. Matthias Samuelson's another guy who's having a really good year.
Yeah, but I mean, they've had those defensemen for a while, and it's only now just starting to click. So
Well,
I don't put it just at the feet of the goaltenders are doing well, just at the feet of the defensemen. I think it's probably a bit of both. Goaltenders are having a great year, defense are having a great year, and it's just all
Well, what sparked? Think about though. What happened around the time that the Sabres started to really click off? Like, well, click on. I guess I should change the phrasing too. Like, what happened there? Because something happened.
yeah. The running theory is because of the GM change, but I don't really think that that's the case either.
I know sometimes
I
culture just comes down from the top. I mean, I'll look at my Islanders for example. Obviously, it's one I'm familiar with, so that's why I keep going back to it. It's There's been a culture change within the Islanders. Things are Everyone just seems a lot more happy, a lot more free flowing. People are excited to get there. Now, the part of that is we'll get into it in a second. With Matthew Schaefer, just the kid brings energy and happiness and joy everywhere he goes. But this was happening, my opinion, before that. With the interviews you were seeing from players, stuff happening with the development camp, the stuff happening with development camp. What I was able to see during preseason, things just looked a bit different, and it was also from a GM change.
Yeah, I'm sure some of it is a little bit of the GM change. I just don't think the players specifically talk with the GM all that often. Their agents for sure, but I don't think the players interact with the GM
well,
all
hold
that
on.
much.
If the coach talks to the
Hold on,
GM,
hold on, hold on, hold on. Will, Will and Mike, I'm gonna explain something to you. Lou Lamoriello runs the
sure.
organization with an iron fist.
But that's part of the what I'm saying. Like, this is the impact a GM can have. Not saying it is that their old GM did have on the Sabres. It's what the
Well, you have
impact a
to
GM
remember,
can have.
Lou had the infamous no facial hair removal.
Yep,
Everyone's got to be pretty
I'm very
pissed.
familiar.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
with
yeah.
Buffalo,
You're talking to two people that are both fans of teams that have had Lou Lamoriello, and Chris Lamoriello as GM assistant GMs for their respective teams.
He Lou Morello actually did a podcast
I
with
haven't
what
watched
the
it.
agent provocateur, yeah, the agent provocateur, and he talked about that. Like he's trying to sell the game just as much as any other GM is trying to put butts in the seats, and you got to do that. To do that, you got to see the players' faces. So
I say a player's facial hair is just as much as their faces as it would be without it. I mean, it's. I mean, you remove Jumbo Joe's beard, and in my opinion, at that point, you don't got Jumbo Joe anymore.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but that's
Sure.
just like part of the his shtick. So, you know,
Maybe if he's trying to market the Islanders and the Leafs, so they were both of their respective Broadway class people, then maybe that'd be the case. People 60 plus with a few $1 million.
right.
Uh,
When did the Sabres have that long win streak? Let's start mid December.
Maybe late November, but yeah.
Um,
I
I
know
can
the
tell you.
Islanders. I know the Islanders played the Sabres about that, and it was close. I think we did lose that. So maybe, yeah, no, that might have been in November. Maybe it started like end of November, going into December.
No, it was
Started roughly game 30 for them, their 30th game. Because,
December 9th,
December 9th.
yeah.
Okay.
and they went on that run until January 15th, where they didn't lose more than one game. They didn't lose two games in a row. The
And the game they played against the Islanders, it stands out on my mind because my parents had like just bought their house. You guys are about to aware of, and like we were listening to the game on my phone while we are literally in the dark in the snow moving boxes out of a U-Haul truck into a pickup truck to drive it down a hill covered in snow to a garage to then move those boxes from the back of the pickup truck into the garage because we were worried that the U-Haul truck wouldn't get all the way down the hill and be able to get back up in a foot of snow.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it. It looks like Connor Timmins played his last game on December 18th. Michael Kesselring was injured. He came back December 18th. He's kind of been in and out of the lineup. But Matthias Samuelson he just went on a tear. He's got a career high 34 points right now after not having more than 14 points in any prior season. And a lot of that came from December 18th to most of January. Looking at it right now, December 18th. He had his 13th point and then just went on a run until before the Olympic break. 21 points in the span of 20 games or so.
All you need is a hot goalie, and I think Buffalo's got two. So I think whatever team plays them in the first round of the playoffs, they should be scared.
I'm excited for it. I'm already like I have family. I lived up by Buffalo, above a bit outside of Rochester, and I got some like family up there and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to maybe seeing about going up there for a playoff game to see Sabres playoff hockey for the first time in forever.
They'll be seeing it for the first time in a generation.
Well, yeah, wasn't there that guy who posted something on TikTok that he hadn't seen Sabres play hockey his entire life or something, or since he was a toddler?
Yeah.
How many years has it been
Uh,
since they made the playoffs anyway? I can't remember off the top of my head.
2007.
2007. Yeah.
2007.
Jeez Louise.
Hey, if
That's
they do it
a
this
long
year,
time.
they don't hit that. They don't hit as many years as Matthew Schaefer currently has
I
goals.
apologize. 2011.
Okay.
What? That's
I mean,
15 years.
it's not much better, to be honest.
Yeah, the 2000, few more. What was the 2000 with that hypothetical child born the year that the Sabres last made the playoffs, but like about to be drafted into the CHL?
Oh gosh.
Essentially.
Or maybe they're an
They draft
exceptional status
they
player.
draft they draft 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
So yeah, this upcoming
You could already be there, maybe except with exceptional
uh
status.
yeah. Yeah, they're probably in the US National Team Development Program. But yeah, so
Sure.
last time they made the playoffs, Lindy Ruff. Since then they've had Von Rolston, Ted Nolan, Dan Bosma, Phil Housley, Ralph Kruger, Don Granado, and now they're back to Lindy Ruff.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I had a feeling that it was
Historical.
going to work out well enough for him. Took some time. Like I said, GM fight was like I was trying to say earlier. If the GM's fighting with the coach, and the coach is always going to the players bitter and angry because of fighting with the GM, then that's most likely just going to get passed on. Like obviously, parents fight with each other. the child is gonna get it. Is not gonna be doing so one way or another.
It's true.
I mean, Buffalo's had some really interesting GMs.
Interesting and good are not the same thing.
Yeah, Kevin Adams was that was I will say this. Jason Botterill, I think, had the right idea, but Pakula's interfered too much.
Yeah, I was actually quite happy with the Kraken hire of Botterill. Um, I think that spells good things for the Kraken.
I mean, he's a good amateur scout. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's just Pagula was meddling a lot with the
Oh,
Sabres.
always
They
has
had a
been.
mantra that every first round pick has to play the year they're drafted for Buffalo. Like every single first round pick. They're drafted, they're playing. And I think the first one that did not was Owen Power.
I mean, Owen Power also hasn't been that good as far as like first overall picks have been anyway. I mean, if you compare him to the majority of the picks that came before and after, like what their production has been able to be. I mean, he hasn't been he hasn't been producing too much in comparison. Not saying he's not a bad player though. Though
I think
it's
that 2021 draft was kind of screwy because if I'm not mistaken. I think the best player out of that draft was Wyatt Johnston. Is that the Wyatt Johnston draft or was that 2020? Oh, that was the Wyatt Johnston draft, yeah. That entire draft class just got screwed up by COVID.
I think many different
Yeah,
things got
yeah,
screwed due
yeah.
to COVID. So don't hold it too much against the draft class. I mean, shoot, all their developments just got like a shot in the foot. It's just like struggling to recover afterwards. But it's not like any of the players that got drafted afterwards also didn't have their development potentially hampered. I mean, going back to someone who I love to talk about, Matthew Schaefer. Like it's what would have his development able to been better if he was able to play more games at the time, as a fairly young kid, and from 2020 to like 2022, if COVID didn't happen. Think about where he'd be now.
Yeah, for sure.
He'd also be in a much better place without that injury that he
Honestly,
had.
I think the collarbone injury helped his mental resolve because it gave him mental experience that unfortunately the death of the people in his lives didn't give him before. I mean, there was numerous players that apparently reached out to him right after that happened. I think McDavid and someone from Tampa, I can't remember who, like both reached out to him like that night from what I remember hearing at the time to explain the situation from what their experience from what they went through and how you can use it to focus on your development in different ways to be a better hockey player, to be able to produce on the ice more than you would be able to get from just being able to actually play more games. Now, maybe be able to be better otherwise, but I think having some injury like that help was able to be he was able to make the best he possibly could have out of a horrible situation.
I agree with you
That's
there.
pretty cool.
I agree with you though. But when I was looking at his stats, because he
I mean,
hadn't played more than 60 some odd games in any season, my concern was when the Islanders brought him in that hey, he's going to hit that 60 game wall and then taper off at the end of the season. However, the Olympic break gave him a few weeks to cover, and he
uh,
keeps on churning as he
I mean, he could have also
comes
been
out of it.
there, played the one game against France as with playing top line minutes, and just been like the extra guy on the bench, only playing like 5 minutes a night, like only on the power play or something like that. He could have been a power play specialist. I mean, you're allowed to have two extra players on the bench anyway for the Olympics. You're allowed
That
to
was
bring it.
just one.
No, I think you're allowed to dress 20 instead of 18.
Huh.
You're allowed to dress 22.
20, 22.
And two of them
And
are and two of them are goalies, right?
Yeah.
yeah, so 20. 20 skaters as opposed to the NHL's 18.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was definitely thinking of. I've heard this stat a bunch of times now. I just didn't think
That
about
even
it.
makes me that even makes me more annoyed that they didn't dress Crosby for that game, even if they like just having him on the bench would have
I get
been.
that. Though he apparently did play a big deal in their wins versus Czechia and against
No.
Finland. Like when they went to talk to him in the locker room, like he was the reason why they came out motivated. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I do understand what you're saying. Though I don't know what his injury is. Like, do you either have heard what the injury
it
necessarily
was
is?
I think it was a leg injury.
Okay. Yeah, but we don't necessarily know exactly what type of leg injury it is. Okay.
No, but
It's a lower body injury.
he
So
was
it could be
he's
both legs.
expected to miss like a month, and then he's back at it. So
Pulled tendon at best then.
yeah.
Speaking of tendons, we were talking earlier about Hillary Knight. Fuck.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
That's insane to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, we already talked about, but she's proven herself to be like the captain for USA. It's just the same way like Merely Filipinan is the captain for Team Canada, in my opinion.
Yep. Yep.
That's a fair assessment. I still can't believe she played through torn MCL. I would be hobbling around on crutches. Maybe.
I mean, you look at an injury like that and you start to feel it yourself. And like the fact that she was skating the way she was, I mean, it's. I don't know. Like a single ranker could have possibly one of our rankers would have been able to do anything like that. And nothing against anyone in this group. Anyway, getting
Oh,
back over.
Schaefer.
Sorry.
Back to Schaefer. 20th goal as a rookie.
Yes, 4
Did you just
goals
score it?
in 3 games.
Insane.
Yeah, he didn't get a single point. He was even. He wasn't plus or minus. He didn't get any. He was on the ice for any of the goals against Columbus, and he didn't get any of the. Obviously, didn't get any of the points from that. But still, like 2 goals to bring the game back after Dobson scored 2 goals in Montreal, to make it even and get the team back into it. To then scoring 2 against the Panthers. The Panthers just a few nights later. Second on the
Anybody else
back-to-back.
really gonna really enjoy like the Schadenfreude of the Panthers not making the playoffs? Because I am certainly enjoying it.
I'm going to enjoy it for the fact that I won't need to hear the possible talk of the D word in relation to the Panthers.
There, there's some irony in that because I remember I don't know if you were around for Reddit back then. Operation Regicide when everyone was against the Kings between post lockout.
Yeah, I
Oh,
wasn't looking at Reddit really so much back then, but I know of it.
Yeah, apparently Kings fans were insufferable back then.
I could imagine it. It's. I mean, LA is kind of, especially the Kings fans are kind of like Rags fans west, but a little bit more reasonable, especially if they don't hate you.
There was the infamous 2013 series against the Blackhawks that was just insane. Western Conference Final.
Though I am entirely grateful and indebted to the fact that the Kings did the hockey world a favor and did not let the Rags win that Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that was a pretty easy series for the Kings. Was
Yeah,
it 4-1?
something like that. Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty one-sided.
the game that they won that series in did go to overtime, so it led to the amazing. Everyone loves to see it overtime winning goal. Like we got that for both of the Olympic games, gold medal games. Eh, Goal goes in, everyone loses their mind, loses their mind. Gear goes everywhere, rush onto it. It's not like the lead of like, come on, just a few more seconds, few more seconds. No, the just orgasmic jubilation of winning that goal. Oh,
There's nothing quite like a game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs in overtime.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I was actually in the rink when the Kraken beat the Avs in OT. I think it was for like game 4 or 5,
Must have
and
been
yeah,
amazing for a local fan base.
it was loud. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they design these modern arenas so well that like you can hear everything that's happening on the ice, no matter where you are in the arena. Yet yet when big noise happens, it happens and you can feel it.
Yep.
And I remember when one of the overtime winning goals happened for the Islanders at UBS in the playoffs a few years ago, and that was the first time since the Coliseum that I've heard any arena louder than it. Like, and I've been to arenas with loud fans in it. Like, obviously, like I've been to World Juniors a few times, and like I was at the gold medal game in Buffalo. What would have been like the 2019 World Juniors, no 2018 World Juniors, when Canada beat Russia for the gold medal, and never before in any sort of game had I felt not just a little bit of a tremble, but like the felt like the ground beneath my feet was shaking from the noise and energy coming out of that arena.
Yeah, I've been on the other side a couple times. I was in the 2019 World Juniors at quarterfinal game, Canada versus Finland, one where Dobson broke his stick in overtime,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah, I remember
Finland
that.
came down. The entire arena was dead silent, other than the few Finns that were there. Like you'd clearly hear the Finns celebrating. It was just
That
Where was
dead
also
2019 hosted?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. Okay. Yeah, that must be a really some experience of what I got, what I had last year being up in Ottawa, because like some of the game against Czechia, it's that first one went in. It's like there's literally not a single noise other than the 15 to 35 fans and the goal song.
I did get the opportunity to talk to Corey Schwab, who was a backup for the Leafs many years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about old Maple Leafs gardens during the playoffs. And there was definitely a time where they go in for the intermission. I can't remember what year or like series it was, but they're in Maple Leaf Gardens. They're in the locker room for the intermission, and the door to the dressing room is shaking from how loud Maple Leaf Gardens was during the playoffs. And I thought that was just the coolest thing. The players definitely notice
Oh yeah.
when the fans are there for them.
There's a there's a there's a quote, and I'm probably going to get partially wrong. I think it's not from the primary quote this some for it, but the actually involves the Leafs. Funny enough, the playoff games when I was a kid against the Leafs in like 2002. The penalty shot goal to wind up, I believe, winning the game. Winning the game in overtime. That happened. Just how that place broke up. Like they just broke out in just sheer noise. Like you have, even had dynasty players that were in the building. It's like this is the loudest building has ever been. And I think the quote is something to the extent of like someone was saying that they were on the bottom of the pile there after winning that game. And the loudness and what felt like the vibration of the arena was had his head like bouncing off the ice at
That's
the bottom of the
insane.
pile. It's fortunately too young to possibly have been able to afford such a thing. My family had no money then, but oh man, I dream about those moments.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good segue to finally get into our intros.
Sure. All right, Lang, I should say you're the OG. Why don't you take us away to start?
Yeah, sure. So I started IcyData way back in like May 2014 ish. I was still in school. I saw um, extraskater.net and War on Ice. Those were like big inspirations for me. But I saw Extra Skater and I was just like, hey, I can do that. Originally, IcyData was called assistantcoach.net.
Oh,
I had a
okay.
domain. It was asstcoach.net. So yeah, enjoy that. And actually, my girlfriend at the time, she's not my wife, she came up with the name IcyData. And for those who get to know me, they know I enjoy puns. So when she came up with IcyData, I see data, I was just like, oh yeah, she's the one. Um, and so um, Daryl Metcalf, who actually made extraskater.net, ends up getting hired by the Maple Leafs. And I hadn't released my own website yet because, it was a passion project. I ended up kicking myself. Not to say I would have been hired by the Maple Leafs, but like I wasn't really giving myself a shot. Um, so many years later, I get out Icy Data, and it's just been a labor of love ever since. So I've been doing it for well over 10 years now.
All right, I'll go next. The my name is Mike. Um, we Lang and I, well, Will and I should say, sorry, bad habit. We wind up running the Hockey Power Rankings organization. The thing I'll throw it back up on screen here. The weekly rankings. Now, on top of what you see here, this is the image that we generate. There's also a write up done by each of the individual rankers in the Reddit post. And I wound up joining the group as the Islanders ranker right after what I was expecting to be right when I was expecting to be another good playoff run, at least to the second round for the 2021-2022 season that became the COVID season of death and destruction. Uh, uh, but it's after that first season as the Islanders ranker, the previous lead organizer for the group, we'll just call him Keep. He decided he stepped down for personal reasons to have more time with his family, and I stepped up into that role. I've been the organizer, stepped down as a ranker, up as the organizer. I've been leading the group overall ever since, and Will and I work closely heavily with him leading up the website side because we use his website to collect the rankings through the bias rankings and like the blurbs and everything, and and I then take that, give it some basic editing, add a few things in. So minor stuff takes about half an hour to an hour, and then I get it up onto Reddit. We also do PWHL rankings. Obviously, we don't have an image for that yet because that's a little bit newer. But we throw those up under the same ranking posts most weeks, and then we also tend to post them to r/PWHL on Reddit. And well, D, if you want to talk about yourself and you're a little bit of a thing here, you can go ahead.
Yeah, right now I'm gonna go by D. I don't know if I want to use my nickname yet, but I've done college radio, so not in the hosting chair, but I am very familiar with the in and outs of radio shows. So I did sports radio for a couple years while I was in college, and I was always interested in advanced data, but I never really got to really dig into the math until the pandemic hit. And around that time, I also ended up joining the R Hockey Power Rankers. And Lang's got a great model right now. I've looked at it more from the gambling side a bit, as well as referees officiating and other trend data that is kind of buried in there. So I am joining here as host, and then also to insert additional information as needed while Mike and Will go off on their enjoyable discussions.
Hey, you're still discussing with. Don't sell yourself short. You're also not even mentioning. Neither of you actually mentioned that Will is the the active Leafs ranker, though he spent some time before as the Kraken ranker because that's his second
Proximity.
team.
Yep.
I wasn't going to say you lived in the area, but yeah.
Uh,
And then D is our Capitals ranker right now as well. In the future, we one of the things we like to have is we like to have various of other rankers come on here and join us just to talk about their teams, but also just join in with the general conversation as a whole. So we've mentioned Tim before. He's a good friend of ours. He's the Carolina Hurricanes ranker, and or Keep, who's now back with us in the group as the Lightning ranker. And we'd absolutely love to have them or anyone else come and join us, just to talk hockey in general. It doesn't have to be about their specific team, but we'll give them some time to talk about their team because it's what they know the best.
Yeah, and to talk about my model a little bit, I know it's accurate because it regularly predicts that the Leafs suck. So
Well,
For a long time there, for a
just
long
that's
time there, you could make money betting against the Leafs when they were given 200 or
oh yeah,
shorter odds.
oh yeah.
I think the 2023 Heritage Classic was the most fun I had because the Sabres I think were plus 230, and people were leaving the third period of that game.
yeah,
Oh,
That's
it's
rough.
yeah. I just lost what I was about to say. Never mind.
If I do remember that outdoor game, and yeah, I feel for those fans.
I had a good time. Yeah, all the fans around me. I think it was a Sabres home game. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And
did they also like do that where the Bills play, or am I mistaken misremembering that?
they did that with the 2018 Winter Classic.
Okay.
Oh, I misspoke. It was the 22 Heritage Classic. That it was the Sabres and Leafs. And yeah, Buffalo was a home team. And then 2018 Buffalo was also a home team.
Okay. Well, home team just doesn't really say exactly where it's going to be hosted. I mean, this
Well, I mean,
the
2018 was held at City Field.
That
yeah.
was the one where Matthews got um, a 2 game suspension for cross-checking Darlene, right?
In 22.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, yeah, him and Darlene cross-checked each other, and then the game ended up with a bunch of misconducts with people getting thrown out left and right.
Do you think the penalties were a little bit more severe just because it was a big outdoor national broadcast game versus if it was just a regular game on a Tuesday night at KeyBank in Buffalo, local broadcasts?
No, if the Leafs are involved, the suspensions the suspensions are actually probably what they should be. But if it's any other team, they get a slap on the wrist.
Okay. You don't have an in with the refs like the Rags do.
No, I certainly do not.
Well, it doesn't matter about the Rags because they're certainly not getting any favors from the refs at home this season.
That's true.
Eh,
Given how bad they've been at home, yeah.
I mean, they've been taking like egregious stuff. Like it's well, I was about to give it a situation like if you slash someone's finger off, but now Crosby got away with that one. You were slash someone's finger off with no call. So that my example doesn't really fly.
Well,
Like
the
the
Rangers
Penguins,
are
they don't
about to
fly.
go flightless birds. The Rangers are about to go 7-16-5 at home. That's
That's
it's
that's
25% winning percentage.
that's bad.
They're I'll need to look up the active side. Of course, the game's going on, so like things are gonna change. But
It's
last
only
they
better than Vancouver.
yeah, that's why I said that the Rags need to be lower. Those Rags were I think we had them at 30th. They need to be like 31st, not 32nd. And hey, look at
Oh,
that! The Blue Jackets are currently beating them 4-0. Second intermission.
Oh no.
The pain continues. For those, in case it doesn't go up today, where today is March 2nd, in the evening. So it's that's what we're going off for right now. Maybe they'll come back to win it. Maybe they won't. And the Leafs are
I
currently
doubt
tied
it.
with the Flyers 1-1.
Did you hear when they came back and they were acknowledging the Olympics medalists that they cheered everybody except for Drury, who they booed.
I'm not.
Sounds right.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't even boo their own coach. I mean, they haven't been too happy with him either.
Oh, he backstopped. He led America to a gold medal with his coaching decisions.
I feel
Although
like
I
it was
would,
in spite.
I would argue it was Hellebuck standing on his head.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's look at all of his poor decision was leaving JT Miller out there on the ice for forever. It's like JT Miller has information about coaching and management that the rest of the team does not have. I mean, I was
I,
thinking about
I, I have a funny JT Miller story.
okay.
Um, so the 2019 draft, at the 2019 draft, I am in Vancouver. I'm
Mm-hmm.
at the draft, and they announce on day two that they are trading next year's first round pick and another pick for JT Miller, and like the entire arena was just like what?
Oh no. They wanted
And
that
then
first round pick. Who was the first round pick?
it was the following year first round pick of 2020.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Still though, who was the first round pick? If you remember off the top of your head, I can't
yeah.
remember.
The 2020 first round pick was the Vancouver traded to Tampa. Tampa ended up trading it to the Devils. I think that was in the Ross Colton deal.
So
No, that
okay,
was in the
that one
Blake
that
Coleman. Sorry, that was in the Blake Coleman deal. So it ended up being Shakira Mukhamadullin, who ended up in
Okay,
San Jose. And I
okay,
just
okay,
remember
okay.
that pick has some
sitting there
legs.
day two, and Cooper just like, what? There wasn't like excitement or anything, and then like later on, the media builds up the hype, and it turns out JT Miller turned out to be a locker room cancer.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they traded away like was it 3 players, 4 players now because of Miller.
Yes, that's right. That sounds right.
I mean, he's
Traded
the reason why the Islanders have Bo Horvat. Now, I'm still not the biggest fan of the goddess Bo Horvat, though I do like Bo Horvat. I would like to have the pick, and I would have loved to continue to see Atu Ratu continue to develop here versus mismanage and not develop there. Because well, unless you're a big star, and even big stars fail at times, both the Rags and Vancouver cannot develop players. You gotta be playing well when you get there, and that's the only way you're going to develop.
Oh, that pick that they traded for JT for sorry for Bo Horvat ended up being Axel Sandin Pellikka. Vancouver traded to Detroit, I believe, in the
Yeah, I remember
was
that
it
trade happening.
Philip Hronik deal.
I mean, the joke at the time was like, Aturati could be anyone. He could even be Bo Horvat.
Was a defenseman.
So
Yeah, these first round picks. That joke being, hey, it could be anyone, even Bo Horvat. Um,
it's more about Aturati, who we had already drafted, who had played 5 NHL games and had like 3 goals or something like that at the time. It was like I was really excited. He was the big bright spot about the team at the time, and like, and then he traded him away for an older player. It's like that's the opposite direction I want the team to be going. Now, again, nothing against Bo
well,
Horvat. I like Bo Horvat. I was happy to cheer for him when it was against anyone else but the U.S. other than for comedic reasons, like obviously Canada losing to Czechia would have been hilarious. But it's I was happy to cheer for Bo Horvat at the Olympics. I felt like he did all right, all things considered, despite the mismanagement, miscoaching.
He did
But
do well at the Olympics, I think. He had a
yeah,
role and he stuck to it.
yeah. He even was able to produce a bit. It was one of the little bit of the depth scoring that they actually managed to get there to get out of their depth a little bit.
Yeah.
going back to the Islanders and their inability to develop prospects, I think
The
one of the
Islanders,
issues you mentioned Canucks and
Rags.
you Rags. Well, okay. Well,
Yeah, you said Islanders is like no. We've been able to develop things. There was a blip there under Chris Lamorello running the AHL. Is like things were looking so good, but that's the exception.
okay, that's fair. I remember just there was a lot of Lou Lamoriello draft picks that just did not pan out.
The picks that we had that turned into players going to the AHL, that's where the issues came from. The picks that we had where they didn't go to the AHL, where they didn't spend too much time in the AHL, that's where they take. I'll give you 2 examples. either I can't remember if Lou had just been hired and then drafted Dobson, or Dobson was already drafted and he was left in
I
juniors for a season. Juniors for a season being brought
oh,
over, but
so I
essentially,
remember that summer. It was the summer of 2018 that they
yes,
got Lou and Barry Trotz
yes.
together.
I'm not saying. I'm just thinking about the which year Dobson was drafted in. Was he technically already
2018.
drafted but left in the regardless? He was purposely like obviously he can't go to the AHL and he's too good for juniors at that point. So we're going to hold him onto the team, keep him with the NHL team to be able to develop in practice. And he only played like 7 games in the NHL that season because there just wasn't a spot to put him in there. But he was always that extra D man we had on the roster, traveling with the team and training with the team, and he's able to get there. The other example will be Simon Holmstrom, drafted by Lou, came over from the SHL, and he didn't spend, but he was left in the SHL to develop for some extra time. Didn't spend too much time in the AHL because of injury as well. Before we had to start bringing him in and bringing up for games, and he's just been there in the background cooking. He's playing much better than would ever expect him. Like no one's out there talking about Simon Holmstrom, and not outside the Islanders. Yet if you compare some of his stuff, some of his stats, and some of the goals he gets playing with, especially playing with John Gabriel Pajot, I mean, the two of them were the multiple points during multiple seasons now have been the leaders in shorthanded goals and shorthanded points. It's and he has multiple overtime winning goals at this point.
He's got
He's
speed.
Yes, he got his hands. He has an amazing shot. He doesn't shoot enough. He's kind of like Barzal in that aspect. But when he does shoot, his shoot is fantastic. And it's my favorite thing for a shorthanded is not so much Holmstrom with the puck because I'm expecting to get past the Pajot. But when Pajot has the puck, he has great passing hands. He can almost always get it to Holmstrom, and Holmstrom on a breakaway situation like that can get it in fantastic. He reminds me a bit of Franz Nielsen when we had him. And Franz
Okay.
Nielsen was one of the best shootout players in the entire league at the time for his era.
All right. So we're going to get to our final points. What at the playoff picture? Looking at the playoff picture right now, what are the teams that we think are going to drop out, and the teams that are going to be able to sneak in?
Well, why don't we first go over? I don't have anything prepared for that. I should have thought maybe about preparing the standings to say
Well,
who
right
would be
now,
playing who. But yeah, let's talk. Let's just quickly list off for anyone who's just listening who's in the playoffs. So starting from the
well,
top at the Metropolitan, uh, at this time of day, which is just before 9 p.m. on Monday, March 2nd, you have the Carolina Hurricanes, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the New York Islanders. The top of the Atlantic, you have the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Buffalo Sabres, and the Detroit Red Wings. In the East for wild card, you have the top spot is the Montreal Canadiens, which would currently be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the bottom spot you have the Boston Bruins, who would currently be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let me just say it again. You have the Habs be playing the Canes. So the Habs. I just keep saying this backwards. The Habs would be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Bruins would be playing the Canes.
and then
That sounds
obviously
right.
the interdivision matchups with Buffalo versus Detroit and Pittsburgh versus the Islanders. Earlier we
Yes,
talked about the Crosby injury,
yes.
and there's also um, like, do the Penguins? Do you guys think the Penguins will be able to stay in the playoff race? I mean, they had an impressive win over the Golden Knights yesterday, but they uh, they also lost to the Rangers at in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that's an extra blow against them. I should have easily won that. People will say
I
I
think
should be happy the
they've
Regs won, but no.
I think they've built enough of a cushion where I think they're still gonna um,
Yeah,
squeak in. Um,
yeah. Both
but
both
there is
the both the Islanders and
there's
Regs have
absolutely a
a
world where they don't.
yeah. Both the Islanders and Penguins have a 6 point lead over your Capitals. right now in the
Yeah,
standings.
if the Caps push the Penguins into the wild card, the Pittsburgh Penguins are not making the playoffs. They'll get pushed out by Montreal probably.
Yeah,
Um,
Well, Montreal's in the spot right now. You got Columbus and Ottawa as the other two teams
yeah,
behind the
yeah,
Caps.
yeah.
yeah,
If they fall to be competing in the wild card, it's not likely that they stay there in the wild card. It's like they'll fall out to begin with.
yeah,
But
exactly.
if they
But I think they've got
stay,
enough of a cushion.
yeah, if they stay in second or third in the Metro, then well, obviously they'll be making the playoffs, so they'll be fine. Now,
So there's also at the end of the season, the Capitals and Penguins have a home and home last weekend of the year.
ooh,
Oh, that could be
that
exceptionally important.
yeah, that's also just a good matchup to begin with to end the season. To end the season. I mean, I absolutely love the matchup back to back between the Islanders and Rags this season. So
Well, what do you think looking at the playoff picture?
I would say um, that I see Pittsburgh squeaking in. Um, I think they've built enough of a cushion. We've got the Gary Bettman point that's going to keep them in contention, probably. So yeah, I see them squeaking in. I, I don't see them doing super well in the playoffs, but I mean, I have a hard time betting against Crosby. Um, even
Crosby's not
with
playing.
well, he'll probably be there for the playoffs if they get in.
more caps aversion.
And
Keep plugging.
but I do I don't see them going past the first round, but I I also struggle to bet against Crosby. It's hard to he even at his age he can carry that team
Sure.
quite far, and Skinner is turning into a stud all of a sudden now that he's
Yeah,
not
we
in
haven't.
Edmonton.
Yeah, we
So
haven't talked about that. Talked about that earlier. He's was when the thing that had the top goalies for the league. I think he was like sixth in the league.
yeah,
He's been on heater in terms of getting the Penguins points in the standings.
and
So
he's
it
gonna have to
turns.
continue that for sure.
Yeah, to steal the joke from your Nate Tree he made in his videos recently, Tristan Jarry turned out to not, in fact, be East Coast Stuart Skinner. He turned out to be worse than Stuart Skinner.
It's actually funny. The one time I went to Brandon to go see the Wheat Kings play back in 2016, Stuart Skinner was in net for Lethbridge and got lit up.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I mean, it. He just had to get him out of Western Canada.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe. I mean, Edmonton's one of the three cities in my mind where goalies, if unless you're a really good goalie, you go there to die, and that's obviously
So,
Edmonton, Boston, and with the Rags.
so the other team in the East that I like to point out is the Bruins. They currently have a 2 point lead on my Caps,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, you can pinch, you catch
there'll
them.
be 3 point lead
I
on the
won't hold it
Caps.
against you and Ovi.
I'm just bringing it up because I'm sure Will can tell you that the underlying numbers for the Bruins are not good.
yeah, they definitely um, are getting a bit of luck this season, as well as a couple players who are probably overperforming what their projections were. But that just might be because those players are actually that good. Like they're having um, a good season. Like Fraser Minton has got 29 points in his first game or first full season with Boston. He looks great. He's probably going to hit 15 goals on the year. Um,
He's at 14 right now.
yep. And I mean, he's got time to hit 15. He might even hit 20.
It's really been the Morgan Geeky Renaissance.
Oh yeah, his shooting percentage is kind of absurd. I do expect him to uh, to fall back down to earth a little bit. Um, that being said, I would have predicted that to happen a little
Last
sooner
month.
than it has now. So, like, who knows?
I'm looking at Boston in my model, and they they've been really good on special teams.
And
Not so much 5v5.
the biggest thing against you though for catching up with the Boston, just from basic stats, is they have 3 games in hand on you.
I'm not too worried. We play them twice in the next
Sure.
couple weeks.
Obviously,
Saturday,
that
next
helps
Saturday.
a bunch. Just like we were talking about with the 2 games you guys have against the Penguins coming up. If you hypothetically caught up to the Penguins, but still having 3 games in hands for a possible maximum of 6 points that's a bigger hill than just 71 points versus 69 points to get up.
I'm not too worried. Columbus or Ottawa. Ottawa's a team that's had like really good possession numbers, but
Yeah,
not so great goaltending.
yeah. I mean, it's right now we're gonna assume Columbus is being this game. This game, Reg scored. Fuck. It's 4-1 now, but still, assuming assuming the Blue Jackets win this game, they'll throw them up to 68 points, one behind you, and that would put them 4 behind Boston. And that would have them with the exact same number of games played as Boston. Well,
Uh, We,
hey, I would much rather actually either of you two, whether it be the Blue Jackets or the Capitals, the
Last game
Capitals.
of the season is Caps versus Blue Jackets. So
Every game is gonna matter. There's gonna like every single point is gonna be one of those things like we got
I
to
think that's
win.
also a result of just the compressed schedule
Yeah, the condensed
as well.
schedule. So I know the NHL I think said for the season exactly that they were doing but I think they said at least 2 waves, if not 3 waves of divisional matchup games.
Mhm.
They were they were doing a bunch of divisional matchup games like middle of the season and to end the season to make sure those games at the end of the season matter as much as possible.
All right, let's move on to the Western Conference.
Like
Um,
we don't want to pick who we're going to hypothetically if they're going to start now. Who would win what?
well, I think we've discussed the teams that potentially could fall out and potentially could come in.
Yeah,
No, I'm more just saying like if the Sabres and Red Wings were going to play like right now, who would win that?
I- I think it's too early to try to figure that part out because
Okay,
the Sabres went on a huge heater. Now the Red Wings are playing really well.
Sabres still are too.
So it really depends on how teams are going into the playoffs.
Okay, sure. All right, in the
Uh,
East Coast, then you have
West Coast.
sorry, yeah, West Coast. This is like the whole dyslexia left versus right thing. East Coast, West Coast, same difference. All right, starting with the Central, you have Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. Pacific, you have Vegas, Anaheim, Edmonton. Your top wildcard spot for the West Coast is Utah, and your bottom wildcard slot is Seattle. I didn't know that Seattle actually managed to jump back up there in the wildcard spot. That's cool to see. Maybe we'll get to go to a playoff game this postseason. Will
maybe. Yep.
you still have
Well,
your tickets with them?
Oh, I sure do.
Nice. All right.
the reason Seattle jumped up is the Los Angeles Kings haven't fallen down, and that's why they recently fired their coach. Now they've
Mm-hmm.
got DJ Smith in there.
Yeah, I was hearing a bit about that. People were happy in LA.
I don't
Now,
Apparently,
necessarily think
Miller
DJ
didn't
Smith
have
is an
many points.
upgrade, but
still,
Another
it's
another team that's chasing very closely is the Nashville Predators. They
yeah.
also
I
have
don't.
62 points. Nashville 62, LA
There
62,
is a
San
three-way
Jose
tie right
62.
now at 62 points for the top 3 teams out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and these guys are going to be playing each other.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I said
huge point.
the scheduling the way it landed was to throw a lot of divisional games between at least between LA and San Jose, Nashville. I don't know who they're playing later. But yeah, as of right now, you'd have
Nashville actually finishes their season against San Jose and Anaheim at home.
well, it's Nashville's probably not gonna be Anaheim unless Anaheim keeps like messing things up, like laying the game and uh, I don't know, maybe bad coaching decisions. I'm not sure exactly what's going on
I
there.
don't know. Joel Quinville has 1,000 games under his belt for a reason.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the big anomaly with the Ducks is that they are 7-0 in the shootout,
7-0.
which
Okay,
is
that's almost as good as the Islanders overtime not going to a shootout record.
Yeah, no shootout in the playoffs, so
Yeah.
I don't expect Anaheim to do particularly well in the playoffs. But
And speaking of playoffs, can all the Stanley Cup playoffs overtime always be 3-on-3? I like that.
no, thank you.
no.
No, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Nah, I'm just doing it for me, only me.
Yeah.
There's a reason why 5-on-5 overtime is some of the
Oh
best
no,
hockey you'll ever see.
I completely agree. I'm just making jokes about the 8-0 record the Islanders have for ending in extra time overtime wins.
Their row, yeah. Well,
That that
obviously with the West, we know the Central is pretty much locked up with Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota. They're not missing the playoffs
yeah.
unless something catastrophic happens. Um, Vegas is living with the overtime points. Anaheim, as I said earlier, undefeated in the shootout, 7 extra points there. Edmonton, despite all their goaltending woes, are third in the Pacific. And then the two newest teams, Seattle
McDavid
and
and
Utah.
Draisaitl back ever break at this point when it comes to this team? I feel like it will eventually.
Well, they have 5 losses in overtime already. They've lost 3 games in the shootout, 5 in overtime, and they're 7-5 in overtime when you include the
Sure.
shootout. After 60, they're 7-8. So I think we're starting to see it.
Yeah, reminds me of the years when like right for like the 2015 and 2016 seasons back before they started carrying a bit more.
I'm from my math. I'm looking at my model. I do not see Seattle or San Jose sustaining their performance right now. I do see both teams falling out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've actually
hasn't Celebrini's like production over the past few games, regardless of the Olympics, just gone down a bit? Didn't I hear something about that the other day, or am I just like entirely misremembering it? Like looking at Reddit late at night and unable to fall asleep.
I am not 100% sure on that.
Celebrini, 2 points in the past 3 games, but uh, they, I mean, they beat Winnipeg in overtime. They beat Edmonton in a high-scoring game. Lost to
San
Calgary.
Jose reminds me of the Leafs when Marner, Matthews, and Nylander all joined the team for the first time, and they squeaked into the playoffs when no one really expected them to. They had that great series against the Caps.
I
Um,
was there for half those games.
oh yeah, nice. So I could see San Jose squeaking in potentially, um, probably as a wild card, but I could absolutely see them squeaking into the playoffs.
I really feel like it's going to come down to Nashville, LA, Seattle, and San Jose for the playoffs. That last
I
spot.
would, I would give it to if those are the options, I would give it to San Jose. Um, yeah, my my model actually is very high on the Kraken for whatever reason, and thinks that the Pacific Division is going to end with Ducks, Kraken, Golden Knights as the top three, and then the wild cards are filled with the Sharks and Oilers.
Well, this is
Uh,
wild card team. That would be entertaining.
well,
Yep.
I
They
mean, the
they
Kraken have some
are
of the.
the Edmonton is actually tied right now with Utah with points, and they're only 1 point ahead of Seattle. Yet have played more games than both those teams. One more than Utah and two more than Seattle.
The thing I've seen with Seattle is that their 5-on-5 numbers are not great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Gru-
two guys, Jacob Melanson and Brandon Montour, are the only guys who have a Corsi over 50.
that would not surprise me in the least. But I've said this before, and you'll probably hear me say it again. All you need is a hot goalie, and Grubauer is on a resurgence, and Joey Decord is solid. Um, a hot goalie. That's all you need, and they potentially have two of them.
Do you remember the rule about goalies when it comes to how much they get paid when it comes to a team? Like you said a rule to me a few years ago about that. I'm curious if you remember.
Oh yeah, yeah. You cannot pay a goalie more than $10 million and win a Stanley Cup.
Do you still believe that?
Well, the cap's gone up, so I think that number has shifted slightly. But I mean,
Go
um,
back 2 years.
go back 2 years. I think the answer is that answer is still yes. Um,
I'm just making a joke how times are changing
yeah.
when it comes to with the Panthers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think the Panthers are the first team to do it. Um,
$10 million goalie.
Yeah.
yep.
So
Yeah,
you were saying that
just like having your again. I feel like I'm like dumping on you specifically with this, but this is the point I made at the time. Having like what was it like 50% plus of your roster and just a handful of players.
Oh yeah, with the big four.
Yeah, I mean like what percentage was it? Like I mean, let's say last year, of course, because
it
it
was
was so bad.
definitely 40%
Forty
at
percent,
least.
not 50%. Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause Marner was over 10. Matthews had what was it?
See like
I think Nylander was
11 or
close to 10.
like 9.5 maybe, and then like Matthews was like already like 11.
Yeah.
Tavares was
Uh
still on his big deal. Was it before the season?
William Nylander was 11 and a half. Austin Matthews is 13.25 last season.
Yeah,
Marner was just under 11 and
Tavares was 11.
yeah, yeah. That actually now sounds more like exactly 50%.
Yep.
going back to
Crazy.
the West.
Yeah, no,
So
I know we keep diverting back over to East. It's the teams we know the best.
yeah. Well, I'm looking at it right now. My model is very high on Nashville for some reason. Nashville is right now in the driver's seat for the wild card spot according to the model. My model.
Yeah,
Stamkos is having quite a resurgence, though. As far as I know, like they're supposed to be moving him. So, like,
supposedly
I don't.
I mean, if they move them, then they're throwing the towel in.
Yeah,
So if they move them,
they only got like 3 days to work this out though.
I think
yep.
Friday is the trade deadline. Yeah, 4 days.
New owner, like we don't really know what his ethos is on whether or not they should do something about it.
I think they already said that their planning is to sell. I think it's just the players not wanting to lose games, just to not to lose games.
Yeah,
Trotz has already confirmed that he's going to be handling the trade deadline, but they're going to have someone else in to handle the draft itself. And then Trotz goes over to a advisory panel with ownership to help advise and oversee the team.
The other thing about Nashville is they do not have many contracts past this year. Bunting's UFA,
That's
Hall is UFA, Smith's
that's good for
UFA,
them. That that's a,
McCarron's USA, Josie's UFA.
that's actually
So
perfect for a brand new GM to step in. That means they can make an impact to the team immediately with the direction they want.
yeah. But
So
if the Predators do sell, then I see the Kings coming back in, despite the injury to Kevin Fiala.
yeah.
That was a bad leg break.
Oh, it kept him in the hospital there up until like the day of the gold medal match, and then I don't think he even went to the gold medal game just to see it because well he just got out of the hospital.
Yeah. But the
Yeah,
Kings did acquire Artemi Panarin.
they did. He takes a little time to settle in. If I remember right from when the Rags signed him in free agency. Uh,
yeah.
but but it's when once he starts to click, given 15 20 games, he clicks.
Yeah, so we expect him to be better next year. Um, and then Kopitaro's gone. So
Maybe. Well, we'll see.
Things
If
are back to
there's
looking for a second line center
that's right.
every year.
well, there was rumors about
He had
there's rumors about him resigning or either Panarin resigning or either
he did
if he had
resign 2 years,
he did
two
he
more
did
years.
resign. Okay, yeah, but I was
Yeah.
about to say I was hearing stuff about like a discount as well.
Nope,
Well, I
11
don't know about a
million.
discount, but like the Kraken were prepared to offer him like upwards of $14 million.
Yeah, I don't think Panarin's worth $14 million, even if it's only for like 2 years. But
They
sure.
were gonna give him like 3 or 4 years at 14 per.
And how old is Panarin
Yeah,
right now anyway?
he's 34, but LA is, New York City West.
Oh no, I understand. I'm more talking about you're talking about the cracking offer with 4 years at 34 at
Yep.
14 million. That has a potential. He's also a bit of a speed guy. Speed guys tend not to last as long. So it's
Well,
that leads to potential for him to turn into an anchor.
his playmaking ability is
Sure.
quite. Just, there's not many players that I would put above Panarin in playmaking. I mean, you're talking essentially like Kucherov, McDavid, Crosby level in terms of playmakers. When you get to talking about Panarin,
I think there's a few others you can add on that list.
I agree, but there's not many.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
So
But yeah, I expect like like I mean, if the
there's also
playoffs
the new
started
coach
today,
bump.
sorry, say that again.
There's also the infamous new coach bump. New coach
That
comes in. Hey, we're gonna go on a heater.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, if the playoffs started today, I believe it's the Ducks and Oilers, Avalanche, Kraken, the rematch, Stars and Wild, and then Golden Knights and Mammoth. Um,
Yeah.
So
but I
so
expect
what's going to
the
happen? What's going to happen is Edmonton is going to surge up to top of the Pacific. They're only 4 points behind. They're going to take the number two, sorry, the number one wild card team, and they're gonna play the LA Kings because they'll be up there and we'll get another first round matchup between the Kings and Oilers. And
I don't think so.
I know then our Kings ranker will just kill themselves.
I think the Oilers are probably going to be the first wild card. The Sharks are going to be the second, um,
Okay.
and we're going to
Who ends up
get
with the number
a.
three spot?
It's going to be probably again my model is really high on the Kraken, um, but I could expect it's going to be like Ducks, Golden Knights, Kraken, just because the Pacific Division is not great. Um,
Yeah, Vegas has also had
Pretty
goaltending
bad.
issues.
mhm.
Vegas lost their
And
captain.
we're going to get another Avalanche Oilers first round potentially.
Oof.
Would be interesting.
I think the Pacific is there's a lot of issues in the Pacific Division. I would not be surprised if the Ducks push ahead of Vegas because in my model right now, I got Vegas projected with 96 points and Anaheim with 95, but I had not factored in the Mark Stone injury. That just happened yesterday.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for Vegas is just like I just said before, their goaltending issues and injuries and stuff like that. I mean, they had the cursed Carter Hart come back, who then got injured. I don't know if he's back healthy again yet. But they got him. He started.
No,
Now
he's on LTIR.
he is okay. Yeah, I don't watch enough West Coast. I really should watch more hockey outside the Islanders and Sirens during the week.
Yeah. Well, they've also had numerous goalie injuries. I think pretty much
Yeah,
every goalie that's come in has gotten injured.
yeah. Hart,
Schmid,
Hill. Who's the other one that they have up there? Uh,
they had a young guy by the name Carl Lindbaum play 8 games because of all the injuries.
I heard the Flowers currently a free agent right now, and he might be willing to play a few games for the right team. Not that one though.
I did see him practicing.
Well, I was wondering with the goaltender injuries to start the season with the Penguins, is it going to happen? I'm like,
Right.
we have two guys that are out for the count. Out for the count for I don't think one was LTIR and the other one was just IR, but they're down two. Their AHL starting goalie is now their NHL starting goalie.
No,
Do they sign
Schmid is
him and
still
let him play
starting.
2 games?
Schmid is still starting. He's Lindbaum's backing up.
All right. So to finish off,
Yeah.
who's everybody's cup pick? Pick one from the East, pick one from the West.
Uh, West Coast. I'll go Colorado. I would love to see Brock Nelson, not Brock Nelson, lift the cup. I absolutely love Brock Nelson. And for the East, I'm just going to go with it. We're going to be a sneaky team. And well, last time the U.S. won a men's gold medal game, it was a good year to be an Islanders fan. Fortunately, I wasn't alive for it. Islanders.
Okay. For me, West Coast, I'm picking the Minnesota Wild. I think with the addition of Quinn Hughes, it's not looking like
Yeah.
either goaltender is being traded, and so they've got a 1A and 1A combo there that is just really strong, and Wallstat and Gustafson.
They could
Um,
trade that prospect that we talked about last time.
not
Gosh.
with not with Lavage doing in the AHL. He lit up 6 goals on like I don't know how many shots the other night.
Every goalie
Um,
has a
The
bad game or
Iowa
two.
Wild, Iowa Wild, according to one of my buddies, is really bad.
and then on the east side, I'm picking the boring pick with the Lightning. I just they've returned to form, and they look strong to me. D.
So I'm gonna go a bit different than you guys. Eastern Conference, Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, Tim will be
They,
insufferable.
I think they've had uh, one, one or one or they've had let me see. They've had one regulation loss since like the last time they wore the Whalers jerseys on January 3rd.
I hope
So they
whoever
lost
that
that game to Colorado. But they after that loss, it's literally one regulation loss, for almost 2 months.
that's pretty good. That is part of the reason why they're currently top of the rankings.
And obviously the Bussy factor. As long as they don't play Freddie Anderson, Freddie 3 goal Anderson, you're they're pretty good.
Okay.
Someone needs to call up the Panthers, then. They have someone that might be able to do something about that goalie.
Well, here's the thing: the Panthers, they're not going to be in the playoffs.
Oh
So,
no, I'm
I,
saying between now and the playoffs.
yeah. And then for the Western Conference, my model really likes the Avalanche, and they just picked up Brett Kulak, who's going to be I think defensive upgrade on Sam Girard because Sam Girard wasn't a hitter, but Kulak plays that physical game you need in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do need a little bit more grit for the playoffs than you for the regular season. Things tend
Plus,
to be a little
Kulak
more
was in
trippy.
the Kulak was in the past couple Stanley Cup Finals with the Oilers.
The Corey Perry Invitational.
Actually, past two, 24-25 and 23-24 both times for the Oilers playoffs when they lost to Florida, but no Florida this time. So
All right. All right. I think we all have pretty decent reasons. Honestly, I'm just using pure like gut and what I would like. Though I do think there's a lot of stuff going in the Islanders' favor, and of course the Avalanche. It's the Avalanche. I don't need to explain that. But I think we all make good points.
all right, and with that, we're going to wrap up the IcyData podcast for today. Thank you for listening, and hope you enjoy watching hockey the rest of the week.